Alright, Scorpios, let's take a close look at the celestial bodies shaping your cash flow, starting June 16, 2025. We'll delve into the influence of two powerful planets, Pluto and Mars. Pluto, your planetary ruler, will continue its transformative work, affecting the deep structures of your personality and, consequently, your approach to finances. This is a time to rethink values, get rid of outdated strategies, and be ready for radical changes in how you earn money. Mars, the planet of action and energy, will push you towards taking active steps. Don't wait for money to fall into your lap. Success will require initiative, courage, and the ability to stand up for your interests. This is a favorable period for launching new projects, making deals, and investing, but remember the need for careful analysis and reasonable risk. Mars energy can be both constructive and destructive, so it's important to channel it in the right direction. The transformative potential of Pluto combined with the assertiveness of Mars creates a powerful impetus for a financial breakthrough. However, there is another planet whose influence cannot be underestimated, especially when it comes to making important decisions regarding your well-being. But it's not just the powerful giant planets that shape the financial landscape of Scorpio from mid-June 2025. Special attention should be paid to Jupiter's transit through the sign of Cancer. This position of the celestial body has a profound impact on your intuition and emotional intelligence, which become a powerful tool in making financial decisions. Cancer, as a water sign, resonates with your own element, enhancing your sensitivity to subtle market signals and premonitions. Don't ignore your inner feelings, especially when it comes to investments or major transactions. Trust your intuition, but don't forget to back it up with rational analysis. Jupiter in Cancer also emphasizes the importance of family ties and traditions in the financial sphere. You may discover new sources of income related to family business or inheritance. Consider investing in real estate or other assets that generate stable income and are passed down from generation to generation. To make the most of this favorable period, try to make financial decisions while in harmony with your emotions. Avoid impulsive actions dictated by fear or greed. Instead, listen to your inner voice and act in accordance with your values. Develop emotional intelligence, learn to understand your feelings and the feelings of others. This will help you make profitable deals and build long-term partnerships. The influence of Jupiter in Cancer opens new horizons for the financial growth of Scorpios, but for a complete picture, it is necessary to take into account other factors that determine financial stability and success. Now let's turn our gaze to the influence of Saturn, this planet of structure and discipline, in the sign of Pisces on your financial horizon, dear Scorpios, starting June 16, 2025. Saturn in Pisces is a requirement for crystal clarity and responsibility in an area where the fog of intuition and dreams usually reigns. If Jupiter in Cancer pushes you to trust your inner voice, then Saturn strongly recommends that you back it up with rigorous analysis and strict planning. During this period, it is especially important to review your long-term financial goals and strategies. Discard illusions about quick and easy money. Saturn does not tolerate haste and a superficial approach. It requires detailed study of each step, assessment of all possible risks, and development of a clear action plan. This is a great time to start drawing up a personal financial plan, if you haven't already done so. Define your priorities, calculate your income and expenses, identify weaknesses, and develop a strategy to eliminate them. You may need the advice of a financial advisor who will help you understand complex issues and make informed decisions. Saturn in Pisces also focuses on the need for risk management. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your investments to reduce potential losses. Be especially careful with projects that seem too good to be true. Conduct a thorough check before investing your money in them. Long-term investments, especially in conservative instruments such as real estate or bonds, may be particularly beneficial during this period. Saturn favors patient and disciplined investors who are willing to wait for their investments to bear fruit. Remember that Saturn is not a planet of limitations, but a planet of responsibility. It does not try to deprive you of opportunities, but teaches you to use them wisely and effectively. Accept Saturn's challenge, and you can build a solid and stable financial foundation for many years to come. While Saturn demands rigor and planning, there is another, no less important force shaping your financial landscape. And now let's turn our gaze to another heavenly factor shaping your financial landscape, dear Scorpios, starting June 16, 2025. We will talk about Uranus, located in the sign of Taurus. This revolutionary planet carries a powerful charge of change and unpredictability, especially in those areas that Taurus affects, and this, as you understand, is resources, stability, and material values. Uranus in Taurus is a time of innovation, non-standard solutions, and unexpected opportunities that can radically change your financial situation. It seems to push you to go beyond the usual, abandon conservative approaches, and boldly experiment with new technologies and markets. Don't be afraid to take risks, but, as we said earlier, do it consciously, based on careful analysis and strategic planning. Uranus favors those who are ready to adapt to rapidly changing conditions, who can see promising directions, and do not miss the chance to take advantage of new opportunities. You may want to pay attention to the IT sphere, the development of online business, or investments in new, promising projects. Uranus can bring you an unexpected financial breakthrough, but for this you need to be open to new things and ready for change. Think about what outdated business methods you are still using. What new tools and technologies can increase your efficiency and profitability? Look for non-standard ways to increase income, do not be afraid to offer bold ideas and projects. Uranus in Taurus is a time when courage and innovation are rewarded. But remember the need for reasonable risk management and diversification of investments, which we have already talked about, analyzing the influence of Saturn. And finally, think about how your intuition, your inner sense can help you in financial matters. After all, there is another planet whose influence cannot be underestimated, especially when it comes to material well-being. Now let's turn our gaze to Neptune, gracefully floating in the constellation Pisces. This celestial body has a profound impact on your intuition, dear Scorpios, and opens the gates to a creative approach in financial matters. Neptune, as you know, blurs boundaries, erases clear lines, and awakens the imagination. In the period from June 16, 2025 and beyond, this influence will become especially noticeable. Your natural insight, enhanced by Neptune's energy, will turn into a powerful tool for recognizing hidden opportunities and promising trends. Trust your hunches, especially when it comes to investing in art, music, film, or other creative projects. Perhaps it is in this area that not only financial success awaits you, but also deep satisfaction. Don't be afraid to experiment and look for non-standard solutions. Allow yourself to think big and dream bigger. Neptune favors those who are ready to go beyond the usual and take a risk for the sake of their dream. Develop your creative abilities, attend master classes, study new directions. Your hobby can become a source of additional income, and perhaps the main engine to financial freedom. However, be vigilant and do not allow illusions to overshadow your mind. Carefully check the information, consult with experts, and avoid participating in dubious schemes. Remember that true success comes to those who combine intuition with a rational approach. You already know about the powerful influence of planets on different areas of your life, and how important it is to take into account various aspects. But how about considering how your communication skills can become the key to new financial opportunities? Now let's take a closer look at the influence of the Sun, which during this period, from June 16, 2025, will be in Gemini. This transit has a direct impact on the communication skills of Scorpios, opening up new horizons for you in the exchange of information and the establishment of connections. Gemini is a sign associated with lightness, curiosity, and multitasking, which can somewhat soften the intensity and focus inherent in Scorpios. Right now, Scorpios, you should pay attention to the opportunities that open up in network marketing and other activities related to active communication and dissemination of information. The Sun in Gemini favors establishing contacts, participating in conferences, seminars, and other events where you can meet potential partners or investors. Don't miss the chance to expand your social circle, because it is there that the key to your financial success may be hidden. It is important to understand that the effectiveness of your actions during this period directly depends on the ability to competently use the information received and established connections. Do not spray on everything in a row, focus on those areas that really correspond to your long-term goals and values. Analyze the incoming data, weed out the unnecessary, and use the knowledge gained to make informed decisions. Among other things, the Sun in Gemini focuses on the importance of learning and self-development. Invest in improving your skills, study new technologies and trends to remain competitive in the market. The more you know, the more opportunities open up before you. However, do not forget that not only intelligence and sociability play an important role in attracting financial abundance, but also your inner confidence and the ability to present yourself. And here another heavenly factor comes into play, which also deserves our attention. Well, Scorpios, we continue our immersion in the astrological forecast, which will open the doors to financial prosperity for you from June 16, 2025. We have already considered the influence of powerful planets, such as Pluto, transforming your financial thinking, and Mars, pushing for action. Now let's turn our gaze to Venus, which during this period will shine in Leo. Venus in Leo is a truly royal combination, which for you, Scorpios, means the possibility of attracting abundance through creativity, self-confidence, and, of course, charisma. Leo is a sign that likes to be in the spotlight, and Venus in this sign enhances your ability to self-express and manifest uniqueness. This is a time when your talents can bring you not only satisfaction, but also tangible financial income. Think about what you are really good at. What brings you true pleasure? Perhaps it's art, design, writing, public speaking, or something completely unique. Venus in Leo calls you to monetize your talents, turn your hobby into a profitable business. Don't be afraid to showcase your work, share your experience, create something beautiful that will bring joy to others and, as a result, income to you. The development of a personal brand becomes especially important during this period. Think about what impression you make on others. Your confidence and charisma are powerful tools that will help you attract attention to your projects and ideas. Do not hesitate to talk about yourself, about your achievements, about what makes you special. Participate in events, attend conferences, make new acquaintances. All this will help you expand your network of contacts and attract potential customers and partners. Venus in Leo also favors attracting investment. If you have an interesting idea, a bold project, do not be afraid to seek funding. Your confidence, charisma, and ability to persuade will help you interest investors and get the necessary resources to implement your plans. Prepare a convincing presentation, demonstrate your experience and knowledge, show that your project has the potential for growth and profit. Remember that Venus in Leo is a manifestation of your inner strength and beauty. Don't be afraid to be bright, bold, confident in yourself. Use your charisma to achieve financial goals, and you will definitely succeed. But what if it comes to direct communication and making deals? There is another important aspect that deserves close attention. And now let's take a closer look at the influence of Mercury, located in the sign of Cancer. This celestial body, responsible for communication and intelligence, acquires a special emotional color in the water element of Cancer. For Scorpios, this means a significant increase in emotional intelligence, which becomes a powerful tool in business negotiations and communications. In the period from June 16, 2025, you, Scorpios, will be especially sensitive to the moods and needs of your partners and clients. Use this advantage to establish deeper and more trusting relationships. Your ability to understand hidden motives and emotional messages will allow you to find an individual approach to everyone, persuade softly and effectively, and also make truly profitable deals. Remember, sincerity and empathy are your main allies. Do not be afraid to show participation and care, but at the same time remain firm in defending your interests. The ability to balance between emotional involvement and rational analysis will bring you tangible results in the financial sphere. However, do not forget that even in the most favorable astrological configurations there is a shadow. There is another important factor influencing your financial decisions, requiring special attention and critical reflection. Scorpios, let's take a closer look at one extremely important aspect of your financial horoscope for the period from June 16, 2025, the influence of Lilith in Virgo. This position of the celestial body emphasizes the need for extreme vigilance and critical analysis in every financial transaction. Lilith, as the dark moon, highlights potential traps and illusions that can lead you into a dead end. During this period, as never before, it is important to avoid hasty decisions and not to succumb to tempting, but dubious offers. Remember that promises of instant enrichment are most likely just skillfully placed nets. Your natural insight and intuition, enhanced by the influence of Jupiter in Cancer, must be supported by careful analysis and verification of any information. Beware of fraud and financial pyramids. Any transaction that raises even the slightest doubt should be subjected to a scrupulous check. Do not hesitate to seek advice from experienced lawyers and financial advisors. Lilith in Virgo requires you to be meticulous and attentive to detail, especially in documents and contracts. Lilith's influence can also manifest itself in a tendency to excessive criticism and perfectionism regarding your own financial decisions. It is important to remember the balance and not allow the fear of making a mistake to paralyze your activities. Trust your intuition, but do not forget about the rational approach. This period is favorable for reviewing existing financial strategies and identifying weaknesses. Audit your investments and get rid of assets that do not bring the expected profit. Saturn in Pisces, as we have already said, requires you to be crystal clear and responsible. Be especially careful with new acquaintances and offers from strangers. Lilith can create situations in which you will be tried to mislead or use in their own interests. Trust only trusted partners and do not be afraid to say no if you feel that something is wrong. In general, the influence of Lilith in Virgo is not a reason for panic, but rather a signal for increased vigilance and responsibility. Use this period to strengthen your financial security and develop critical thinking. After all, as you know, forewarned is forearmed. But there is another important aspect that needs to be taken into account for a complete picture of your financial success. Scorpios, we continue our immersion in the money horoscope for the period from June 16, 2025. And now I want to draw your attention to one extremely important factor that is often overlooked, but which is of paramount importance for your financial success. We are talking about the influence of the ascending node, which during this period will be in the sign of Libra. What does this mean for you, Scorpios, in the context of finance? Libra is a sign that embodies balance, harmony, and, of course, partnership. The ascending node in Libra indicates the need to shift the focus from personal ambitions and individual efforts to building mutually beneficial relationships and cooperation. Remember how often you, Scorpios, used to rely exclusively on yourself, on your insight and ability to see hidden motives. This strategy, of course, brought you success in the past. However, in the period under review, it is time to reconsider your approach. The ascending node in Libra literally calls you to cooperation. This means that it is time to look for partners, allies, and like-minded people who can strengthen your strengths and compensate for weaknesses. Do not be afraid to share your ideas and resources, because together you can achieve much more. Think about what skills and knowledge you need to achieve your financial goals. Perhaps you lack expertise in a certain area or access to certain resources. In this case, finding a suitable partner may be the key to your success. Look for those who share your values and have a similar vision of the future. It is important that the partnership is based on mutual respect, trust, and fairness. Avoid situations where one side dominates the other, because this will sooner or later lead to conflicts and disagreements. Creating mutually beneficial relationships is not just a tactical move, it is a strategic imperative for you, Scorpios, in the period from June 16, 2025. The more you are focused on cooperation and partnership, the more opportunities for financial growth will open up before you. And remember that balance is not only harmony in relationships with partners, but also the ability to find compromises and take into account the interests of other parties. Be prepared to make concessions, but do not forget about your own goals and priorities. Ultimately, Success during this period will depend on your ability to create strong and sustainable partnerships based on mutual benefit and respect. This is a time when collective intelligence and combined efforts can bring you much more than individual feats. But how to determine in which areas of activity and with which partners cooperation will be most promising? However, before you start to implement all these promising trends inherent in the stellar aspects from June 16, 2025, it is extremely important to understand that any general horoscope is only a starting point. As a professional astrologer, I always emphasize, for the most accurate and effective forecast, it is necessary to take into account your individual natal chart. The fact is that the position of the planets at the time of your birth creates a unique astrological imprint that determines your strengths and weaknesses, talents and predispositions, including in the financial sphere. A general horoscope, taking into account transits, gives only a general picture, and an individual analysis allows you to see how exactly these transits resonate with your personal chart. For example, Mars, pushing Scorpios to initiative, can manifest itself differently depending on its position in your natal chart. For someone, this will mean a bold start to a new business, for another, the successful completion of a major project, and for a third, the need to defend their financial interests in court. Only an analysis of your personal horoscope will show which scenario is most likely and how best to manage it. The same applies to the influence of Jupiter in Cancer, enhancing intuition and the importance of family ties. For some Scorpios, this may mean receiving financial support from relatives, for others, successful investments in real estate, and for others, creating a family business. An individual consultation will help you understand what opportunities are opening up before you in this area. Therefore, in order to most effectively use favorable astrological influences and avoid potential risks, I strongly recommend that you consult a professional astrologer to draw up an individual financial horoscope. This will allow you to determine the most profitable areas of activity, optimal investment strategies, and the most favorable time for making important financial decisions. This is an investment in your future. In addition to the general influence of the planets, there are other, no less important astrological factors that must be taken into account when drawing up a financial forecast. So, Scorpios, we continue our immersion in the financial landscape that will unfold before you from June 16, 2025. Now we have to figure out exactly how the transits and progressions of the planets will affect your personal financial forecast. Remember, universal horoscopes are just a general framework, and the true key to success lies in understanding the unique configuration of your natal chart and its interaction with current planetary influences. Let's talk about the practical application of astrological knowledge. You, like no one else, know that strength is in information. Astrology provides you with unique tools for planning and decision-making. Knowing which periods will be most favorable for risky investments, and when it is better to show caution and conservatism, you can significantly increase your chances of financial success. Imagine that your natal chart is a complex mechanism, where each planet is responsible for a certain area of life, including finance. The transits of the planets, like gears, interact with this mechanism, activating or slowing down certain processes. Progressions show the internal evolution of your personality and how your views on the world change, including on money. For example, if transiting Jupiter forms a favorable aspect to your natal house of money, this may indicate a period of financial growth and new opportunities. However, if at the same time Saturn creates a tense aspect to your ruler of finances, this may signal the need to exercise caution and avoid risky transactions. Using astrological tools, such as ephemeris, astrological programs, and consultations with an experienced astrologer, will help you create an individual financial plan based on your personal astrological data. This will allow you not only to predict possible financial events, but also to actively influence them, making informed and balanced decisions. Remember the influence of the retrograde phases of the planets. Mercury, responsible for communications and trade, during periods of retrogradeness can create delays and confusion in financial matters. Venus, the planet of beauty and abundance, in retrograde motion may indicate the need to review your values and approaches to earning money. Understanding these nuances will allow you to adapt to changing circumstances and make the most effective decisions in any situation. However, do not forget that astrology is not a magic wand, but only a tool that helps you better understand yourself and the world around you. Active actions, perseverance, and faith in your abilities are what is really needed to achieve financial well-being. And, of course, we must not forget about the power of our subconscious and its influence on our reality. There are additional methods that can help us tune into the wave of prosperity and attract even more abundance into our lives. So, Scorpios, now that we have considered the astrological influences on your financial sphere from June 16, 2025, let's move on to the practical steps that will help you activate monetary energy and attract prosperity into your life. First and foremost, cultivate a positive mindset. Money flows to those who think about it with gratitude and optimism. Start each day with affirmations aimed at attracting financial abundance. For example, I am open to receiving money from various sources, I am worthy of financial success, money comes into my life easily. Repeat them in front of the mirror, feeling confident and joyful at the prospect of financial growth. Visualization is a powerful tool for materializing desires. Imagine yourself wealthy and successful, surrounded by the things that symbolize financial freedom for you. Visualize specific goals, buying a house, traveling, starting a business. The brighter and more detailed your visualization, the stronger its impact on reality will be. Don't forget about rituals. Create your personal money ritual that will energize you with prosperity. It can be anything: meditation with money stones, such as citron or pyrite, lighting candles of a specific color, green or gold, keeping a gratitude journal dedicated to financial successes. It's also important to clear your space of anything that blocks money energy. Get rid of old things you no longer use, tidy up your home and workplace. It is believed that clutter hinders the free flow of energy, including financial energy. In addition, pay attention to your financial habits. Keep track of income and expenses, plan a budget, set financial goals. This will help you control your finances and make informed decisions. Remember to give back. Donate a portion of your income to charity or help those in need. This creates a positive energy exchange and attracts even more abundance into your life. Don't be afraid to ask for a raise or promotion. Your confidence and persistence will be rewarded. Believe in your abilities and don't doubt your success. Venus in Leo is particularly favorable for displaying charisma and confidence. And, of course, listen to your intuition, especially during the influence of Jupiter in Cancer. Your intuition is your inner compass, which will help you make the right financial decisions. However, along with the opportunities that open up to you, there are also certain aspects that require increased attention. Speaking of financial success, one cannot forget about the dark side of the moon, about the potential dangers that await Scorpios on the money path from June 16, 2025. Your natural passion for risk and ability to see hidden opportunities can play a cruel trick on you, pushing you to participate in dubious schemes or trust unscrupulous dealers. Pluto, although it grants transformation, also exposes the most unsightly sides of human nature. Be especially vigilant about offers that seem too good to be true. Carefully check the reputation of partners and companies in which you plan to invest. Saturn in Pisces, requiring analysis and planning, strongly advises against impulsive decisions based solely on intuition or emotions. Lilith in Virgo calls for a critical look at the details and a search for possible catches in documents. Do not neglect legal advice, especially when it comes to large sums or complex transactions. Remember that it is much easier to lose money than to earn it. Pay attention to protecting your assets, consider insurance and diversification of investments. Increased caution and common sense will help you avoid financial losses and preserve what you already have. And, since we have touched on the topic of protection and preservation, it is worth considering the impact of your environment on financial stability.